Testing, testing. All right, all right, all right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Nourished with Natalia podcast. We are back. We are good. We are great. It's a Saturday. It's April 13th when I'm recording this, and I'm currently in my lovely patio at home. I hope you're having a great day and or night whenever you're listening to this. Um, Fun story, I had already recorded this podcast episode. I had recorded it in my boo's place once again, like at his apartment, and I was recording on the pool deck. It was so nice. I was in one of those lounge chairs. The lighting was great. I was planning on putting out a video podcast, and it was going to be all snazzy, all good. I had my matcha with me. I had my popcorn snack with me. It was so beautiful outside, a beautiful breeze, lovely weather. It was such a moment. And guess what? Today I went all the way to the town center to my one of my favorite cafes called E-Bar. It's connected to Nordstrom. I had a protein smoothie and I had the intention of editing the podcast that I had already recorded there yesterday. Guess what? The podcast did not upload, everyone. Lesson to me, charge my computer every time before I'm recording a podcast because that's why it did not upload. I just shut down my computer right after recording. Silly me, freaking 40-minute podcast. That was what I made yesterday. And she didn't upload. So I was sitting there at E-Bar and I was like, what else can I do? So I was doing other things, but I really had the intention of, getting my podcast out and ready maybe a day sooner. But we're here again and we're doing it again. So welcome back to part 2, okay? So this is going to be a continuation of the habit change trifecta, that part of the trifecta. And we're going to be talking about, of course, the habit change theme in regards to shifting your identity, right? And this particular episode is going to be about clearing the crap. All right? Clearing the crap, letting go of what no longer serves us. This is going to come off of, a usual personal story, personal anecdotes, to really make this relatable to everyone. And hopefully, so that you can see yourselves in me and use my story, my experience to reflect on your stories and experiences and make your lives better, brighter, happier, more positive, more Gucci, more everything. All right. I'm feeling good today. I had some really great sleep. Wow. I'm coming off of a Friday off, actually. Yesterday, I didn't have to go into work because there were no appointments scheduled. So I had basically nothing to do if I were to go into work. So my boss just was like, yeah, you don't have to come in. You're good. So I had my Friday off all to myself. Guess what I did? I slept in till 11 a.m. I made myself a spirulina slash branched chain amino acid water. I went on a beautiful hot girl walk, ladies and gentlemen. I had a cute little white sports bra on. I felt like my boobies were looking good. I had a cute little skort situation going. I had my Lululemon cap on. I was strutting to some music. It was so nice. Oh, the beautiful breeze. Then I came back. I made myself protein pancakes. Oh my God. And I put some mango on it. So nice. I hadn't done that for myself in such a long time. Then what did I do? Watched YouTube videos, vlogs as I was catching up on my email. I did that. Got ready for the day. Um, what else did I do? What else did I do? Oh yeah, I recorded this podcast, which ended up failing, but it was a really great time. Saw my boo. Um, Real quick, I know the past episode was kind of cringy, everybody. I know I was cringing. And it's because I was over explaining the location where I was recording, being my boo's place, his apartment. And I was just cringing so much because there was no reason for me to say that because ultimately I did not put out a video podcast for that specific episode. And so, yeah, listening back to that, I was like, oh, oh, why am I saying this so much? Like, what is the point in that? So, yeah, let's just laugh with that, or let's just laugh about that together. Ha ha ha! Like Natalia was very cringy, over explaining herself. Yeah, we get it. You were at your boo's place, right? Right, right. Okay, done. Yeah. So just wanted to acknowledge the cringiness of that past episode. This is going to be a video episode, of course. So I'm in my place and we're going to keep it rolling here. Ha ha ha. What else did I do yesterday? Yeah, after recording a faulty episode, I had dinner back at my place, got changed and went to a heels class. So great. So good. I have to admit, I was out of practice and I felt like in the beginning of the class, I was still kind of like with sea legs, in the heels, just kind of like not fully stable and feeling strong and balanced, like using my core and like using those leg muscles. Towards the very end, I started feeling myself again. I was like, okay, she got it. It's there. We can still dance in heels. But towards the beginning of the class, I was like, oh, it's been a while since I've done this. So, yeah, a little humbling moment for me, but it ended really great. Went to bed super late, got up today with great sleep, and, yeah, slept in. I've been having some rest days, all in the hopes of gaining some muscle, some meat on the bones, some curvature because, I'm trying to look stronger. I'm trying to look more womanly and reflecting on my past habits and my past food choices. I wasn't eating enough, and especially for the physical activity that I put my body through in order to maintain, some curvature, some healthy, you know, muscle mass, I need to eat more. And so, yeah, I've been focusing on eating more and resting more when I don't have to do anything. Particularly in relation to my dance goals that I have this year. um, Real quick catch up. Since the last time that we spoke, I did audition for the Roar dance team, the Jaguars dance team here in Jacksonville, Florida. And it was such a great experience. I had been training for that audition for months, like maybe 3 months. I was super prepared. I felt so strong. I was on my game, honestly. Like I felt really good about myself. I felt really good about my performance. And in the end of the day, I did not get it. I was not chosen for the finalist round that did happen this week. I made it through the prelims and in the semifinals, but when it came to chopping time and really going that extra step further, they cut me. And I learned a lot through that audition. I learned a lot about what I need to work on. I learned a lot about myself through that auditioning process. And I realized a few things that I'm going to take away with me going forward. And yeah, I feel clear with my goals and I feel faithful and hopeful and trusting in the timing of my goals coming through to fruition. I trust in the divine timing of it all. And I know and believe in myself. And I know that if I did not get that role, if I did not get that particular contract, it's because the contract that's for me is ultimately going to make even more sense for my life, going to make me love my life even more. It's going to make my life easier, more exciting, and it's going to be better than that one could have ever been for me. So that's something that I'm taking away from this audition process. And yeah, there were a lot of girls that were messaging me afterwards and they were like, "So, what do we do now? Like, I can't believe you didn't make it, blah, 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 blah." And honestly, to each their own. From this experience, it can be very hard to receive a no. I truly acknowledge that. And for a lot of people, it might be that your next step is slowing down and reflecting on what exactly you want to do next. Maybe it's forgetting about dance for a little bit. I know that I went through that phase a little bit too with my in my head, and honestly, I think slowing down is a great option, and I slowed down a bit too. Where am I going with this? My point is here that what I'm taking away from that audition is personal reflection, trust in my process, and trust in the fact that my intuition, my inner knowing will guide me through to the best next steps. And I'm hoping that anyone listening to this, um, if you've received a no or a setback in the recent future, that you can kind of see yourself in me and in my story and my experience and kind of apply that to your experience. Really reflect, sit down with yourself and assess, what do you need to do different? What do you want to let go of? Do you want to keep doing this? Is there something else you want to do? All those things. So, yeah, that's a little catch up. Another little catch up thing. Yeah, this is the first time in my life that I'm feeling excited about a specific person in terms of relationships and like romance and things like that. And since the past episode, I feel like I've done a lot of reflecting internally on my own patterns, my own assumptions about people and how they operate in relationships. And I truly ultimately feel that regardless of what happens with this person, I'm growing. Ooh, goodness. Hey, everybody, we're back. I had to move my setup, my situation, because my parents came home and there's no way in hell that I'm podcasting downstairs for them to listen in on. No way. So we're currently in my room now. This is near my window and on my little couch thingy. So yeah, once again, I was talking about the specific person that I'm excited about and the kind of things that I've been realizing about myself. And one thing that I know for sure is that I'm truly growing in this process of getting to know another person and discovering how I am in relation to another person. And it's a beautiful process. And I'm enjoying how this is kind of playing out. And, you know, I'll keep you updated as things happen. As usual, you can find me. As usual, you can work with me here in Jacksonville, Florida. If you're interested in bar or ballet private sessions, you can find me at Nova Dance and Wellness or in Spartina Court, the San Pablo exit near the beach. You can also take my classes at Julington Creek Plantation and San Jose Country Club if you're associated with those clubs. Yeah, as usual, excuse me, I'll leave the links in the show notes. And without any further ado, I think we'll go ahead and get into the podcast topic of clearing the crap. Okay, we're gonna clear that crap. All right. Let me first get my phone because I made some notes about what I'm going to talk about today. So I'm not like going on, you know, endless tangents. Okay. So give me a moment. I'm going to get my phone. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. We are back, everybody. So This episode, oh my goodness, connection lost. Hopefully it comes back. Okay. For a second, it said connection lost, everybody. So I was freaking out for a moment. But we're back. And I have my notes on my phone to keep me organized and, on track. So, of course, I've caught you up and everything. Let's get into the podcast episode. So, today we're talking about clearing the crap and letting go of what no longer serves us in terms of truly embodying our new identities that we want to shift into. So, this episode, of course, is coming off of personal stories, personal anecdotes, as usual. And it's really coming off of my realization that I kept falling back into old patterns that weren't serving me. So, making excuses for my lack of fortitude when it comes to sticking to foods and routines that love me back. So, yes, I'm healthy. I'm clean even in terms of my routines and my habits and the life that I live, right? But I still had I still had been consuming the occasional coffee, drinking alcohol, eating out and making dietary choices that were not in alignment with my preferences in terms of staying dairy free, not eating so much processed foods when eating out, eating less gluten, and staying plant based when out. And this is not to say that those things are bad at all. Just for me and my particular goals, those things are not really in alignment with me right now. So let me just get into this. So, yeah. In addition to that, also, I was taking care of myself, but still going to bed way too late in relation to the hour that I needed to get up in the morning for work or whatnot. And that would also put me in this vicious cycle of being tired and reaching for things that did not serve me in terms of excess consumption of caffeine, like reaching for a coffee in the morning or reaching for something that's sugary to kind of just like make me feel better and give me like a quick burst of energy, reaching for, just things that would um, affect my skin clarity and things like that. Um, if you have been listening to my podcast, you would be familiar with my situation that I was experiencing in terms of breaking out in rashes on my body. And it is in connection with the birth control that I was using, but it's also in connection to my diet and the things I was doing in the past, particularly consuming regular caffeine and alcohol, maybe like more than once a week. And for me, that's in excess. So when I say in excess, I mean like consuming alcohol like twice a week and like having one or two drinks at a time. And when I say in excess in terms of caffeine, I'm kind of referring to reaching for coffee at least once a day. For me, that's a lot. And for you, that might be normal and that might be your balance. But for me, that's in excess, especially in terms of it's better, especially when it comes to considering what it was doing to my body, right? Whew. I might be talking to it quickly. Let me just like reel it back. So yes, I do want to also caveat this with saying that none of this is to say that we can't live in balance and that I am not in support of living a balanced lifestyle, whatever that is for you. Balance is going to look different across the board for everyone. My balance may look completely different in relation to your balance, and your balance may be excessive for me or vice versa. So, yeah, just take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But I was also reflecting in terms of what is relevant for me. And yeah, I was maintaining the balance, right? You know, consuming things that brought me joy and tasted good and, doing things that were kind of fun in the moment, but later on were kind of self-sabotage if I really, really unpack that and really be honest with myself. So, yeah, I was maintaining that balance, but when did the balance become self-sabotage? And so now that is something that I want to get into here because I feel like that's a fine line and it's so easy to cross it, from balance to self sabotage. And it's going to, of course, look different for everyone. My balance is not your balance, and your balance is not my balance. So, yeah, we're going to continue on with that. So let's get into it. So, a little story time in relation to what I just spoke about. I was basically practicing weak boundaries with my phone and people and the TV, and this would lead to late nights and sleepy slash cranky AMs. And so what this would ultimately do is put me in this cyclical pattern of needing caffeine and needing it from coffee in the AM or at some point in the day to keep me going. And I'm in a chapter right now where I'm focusing on healing my gut. And I've been doing research, and I know that coffee, processed foods, alcohol, and gluten are not the best for me in terms of getting that back on track, in terms of clearing up my skin, in terms of avoiding inflammation and rashes popping up on my skin. So, yeah, I'm in a chapter where I need to be on my game during the day, and late nights are taking away my energy and causing me to fall back into patterns such as consuming coffee and relying on coffee, consuming foods that are not in my best interest of maintaining skin clarity, maintaining mind and mental clarity, and having the energy to show up professionally and athletically after my job, showing up for dance classes and whatnot, because it takes a lot of energy and a lot of mental fortitude to really do what I've been doing lately in terms of showing up for work, teaching classes, and of course, continuing to train. And whew, that's a lot. Yeah. So I had been realizing this about myself. I've been a lot better recently in the past few weeks because I kind of really was honest with myself about the patterns that I kept living out. So yeah, let's get back into that. So out of being better with myself, right? And realizing these patterns and cutting things out and being more intentional with my choices, I, of course, achieved a streak of no alcohol. And that lasted for about 3 weeks before Easter, which was like 2 weeks ago. And on Easter, I had some really fun plans with my mom. We went to church and we also went out to brunch to this place called Bonefish Grill. And if you're familiar, you know what I'm talking about. It's so good. The food, they have great food. It's delicious, and they have great cocktails and, everything, the works. And so I was like, I'm going to drink. I'm going to have a drink that day. And I had been really good. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be one of those treat days for me, right? Not necessarily to set me back, but to just live my life a bit, because I really do believe in that. And after one drink, I had some bubbly. That was my choice. And after that, I was actually quite tipsy, even after eating. And I think it's because I ultimately hadn't been drinking very regularly. And every time I do that, my, what's it called? It's not resistance. There's like a specific word. My tolerance to it kind of goes down every time I'm really clean and don't really drink alcohol for a significant amount of time. So when I did that and had one drink with my meal, mind you, I was starting my day with this. It was brunch, really nothing in my system before this. I was tipsy. I felt it. And rather than stopping there, since I had kind of created this lack mentality around drinking alcohol, like putting it off limits and then making it such a treat to where I want to kind of overindulge on occasions that I allow myself to have it, I said to my mom, let's share an espresso martini before going. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And of course, in the moment, I was like, yes, I love espresso martinis. Like, everybody loves a good espresso martini, right? But after having half of that espresso martini, mind you, we were sharing the drink, I was even more tipsy. And I was like, actually, like, not too long after that, I was actually exhausted. Like, I needed a nap, and I couldn't do anything in my day after taking a nap. And that's all I could do for the afternoon. And I realized that I didn't need that extra bit of alcohol to finish off the meal. And I think I did that because of my association with alcohol now, like my relationship to it, with it being a treat and something that I don't allow myself to have all the time, right? And so in doing that, I kind of experienced a moment where I self sabotaged and my whole streak of no alcohol kind of backfired. And even though this is minimal drinking, guys, like this is very small amounts, right? Like a drink and a half. Like you're probably sitting there like, Natalia, this is not a big deal. But for me, I really felt it. And I was intentional and aware enough to realize that it wasn't in my best interest to have that other half of a drink. And so what I realized was my main problem here was, of course, the relationship and association I created with these things that I made treats, right? And so in order to truly let them go and to not do that again to myself, not over consume past the point of it being enjoyable for me, I need to reframe my relationship with these things. So, as I said, my current relationship with coffee and alcohol and these things that like taste delicious to me and that I enjoy, but ultimately don't do me so good or love me back after the fact, is one of a treat and one of something that I don't indulge in all the time, right? And so instead of making it a treat in my brain, I was kind of reflecting on what if I created new associations with these things and really labeled them for what they were doing to my body at the time. So, if I were to be completely honest with myself, these things would be inflammatory, stress inducing, lethargy ensuing, self sabotaging, etc. Habits and choices that were not serving me rather than treats, right? And so I had this realization, this aha moment, and I was like, wow, if I really did reframe my relationship with these things to reflect what they are doing and the reality of what's actually happening to me when I do these things, that really does change the game and it makes me not want to do it as much. And it also causes me to be more intentional when I do these things, right? Because these habits and um, choices were holding me hostage to an outdated identity and causing me to circle back, fall back, and need to recoup before I eventually would do it again. And so the question is, when would that cycle end unless I create a change in my mind and my mental process towards these things, right? So this is not to say, of course, that I can't indulge and enjoy these things when it feels aligned, of course. But right now, if I'm being honest with myself, it doesn't feel aligned. And knowing that, I feel like I am empowered and more clear on my choices going forward, choosing specific and good times to indulge in these things where it does feel good and where it does feel like, hey, I'm living my life, not like, oh, I'm doing this thing because it's a specific day, and also I'm going to do it in excess, go a little overboard because I have decided that I'm not going to allow myself to do this on any other given day, right? So this goes for everything, not just the examples that I'm giving you here. It can apply to your spending habits, your personal relationships, your routines, the places you frequent, anything at all. So I really do invite you to take a moment and reflect upon listening to my story and what's relevant for me, and really see if there are any parts of your life that you can improve um, after listening to what I have had to say. Maybe there is an aspect of your life that you can let go of or make better for yourself through reframing your relationship with it. Excuse me. Oh my God. So, some fun examples that I came up with were, of course, they're going to be in alignment with my current needs and what is relevant to me. So, take it with a grain of salt. But for me, I'm lessening my caffeine consumption, right? And so, what that has looked like for me in terms of switching that around after being honest with myself is making a fizzy magnesium water in the morning, or like in the evening. Sorry, magnesium lets you go to sleep. um or mixing spirulina with my branched chain amino acid powder because it tastes like pink lemonade, and it, if I put just a little bit, it kind of masks the spirulina to where I still kind of taste the greens just a little bit, because that's kind of how I like it. But it's fun to drink, and it feels good, it feels nourishing, and it feels positive. It feels like a great step forward to start my day with. So rather than the coffee, switching to that, maybe there's something that you can switch something out with in terms of your dietary choices. What else? I was falling into a pattern of going to sleep too late in relation to the hour that I needed to get up the next day for a while. So in relation to that example, you know, in order to switch that around, I needed to get more excited. I need to get more excited about my morning routine. What would make my morning something that I would look forward to? I did speak about this in a recent podcast episode in terms of creating a morning routine. And that's something that you can do too and apply to yourself. You know, make your morning routine more exciting than the extra episode you were going to watch on Netflix that would ultimately put you to bed an hour later and cause you to sleep in and rush out your door and be all stressed to start your day. You know, being really honest with ourselves, you know, looking at it from an objective standpoint, right? Like, that's what those things, those habits are doing to us. And so we need to get excited about our new routines. Like, what can you put in the morning to really make you look forward to it? For example, in terms of the going to bed late thing. And also in terms of clearing the crap and letting go of what no longer serves us. I think a big component of that is our mental state, our mind, our thoughts, the things that run in our heads perpetually over and over throughout the day. So, really be aware and try to slow down throughout the day to really catch those negative thoughts or doubting thoughts or whatever they may be that are not so positive happening in the background of your head. And, you know, allow them to be what they be. Everyone has them. I have them. um, but really, you could potentially be more intentional and, for example, start listening to positive affirmations. Look them up on YouTube or Spotify. There's plenty. I found some that I really love, by the way. And you can find affirmations that really resonate true and really make you feel good to listen to. And instead of, when you're out and about saying a self-deprecating joke with your friends or, resorting to a negative thought pattern, instead switch it up and say the positive affirmation in your head. Or instead of making a joke about yourself, own yourself and actually speak the version of you want to embody into the world. Speak about yourself highly with others, and others will begin to treat you differently. And you will start to really step into the energy of that new self that you want to be. So that's all that I wanted to leave with you today in terms of clearing the crap and letting go of what no longer serves us, because that stuff is super important before we can start bringing in the new things. We gotta clean it out. We gotta do a spring cleaning, right? It's spring, it's April, it's beautiful, it's breezy. We gotta make our minds, our bodies, our routines, our lives beautiful and breezy. Breezy and beautiful. Cover girl. So, yeah, I'm hoping that this was beneficial for you and that you enjoyed listening to me today and seeing my face. I might put some more videos out. I might also start a YouTube channel just so I can, have a set place where all the videos are. Let me know if that would be nice. If you'd be interested in that, you can DM me, message me, whatever. And I hope you're having a great day, a great evening. I'm sending you besos y abrazos, and we will chat soon. Bye for now.